Let me ask you something. How many times have you said you're going to change, yet everything stays the same? Think about it. Months go by, years pass, and you're still stuck with the same habits, the same fears, the same excuses. When I have more time, when things get better, when I feel ready. But let's be honest, that one never comes. Here's the question no one wants to ask themselves. Are you going to wait until life forces you to change, or will you decide to do it before it's too late? In this video, I'm not going to give you generic advice or empty motivational phrases. We're going to talk about real strategies, principles that have stood the test of time, the same ones the Stoics used to train their minds and become unbreakable in the face of any challenge. Because yes, change is possible, but only if you take control before life forces you to. Today, you'll discover 13 key lessons the ancient Stoics applied to strengthen their character, master their thoughts, and build a life truly worth living. And if they managed to do it through war, exile, and crisis, tell me what's stopping you. So, if you're ready to stop postponing change and start shaping your own unshakable mindset, stick around until the end. Let's get started. Imagine this. You're a man of power, wealth, and influence. You've spent your entire life working to get where you are. Then, in the blink of an eye, it all collapses. You're falsely accused of conspiring against the emperor. No trial, no evidence, no defense. One day, you're in the highest circles of Rome. The next, you're exiled to a remote island. That's exactly what happened to Seneca. 8 years. 8 years in exile. Far from his home, his career, and everything he had built. He could have drowned in despair. He could have been consumed by rage, complaining about the injustice he suffered. But he didn't. Instead, he did something most people never dare to do. He changed his mind before life forced him to. In exile, he dedicated himself to writing, reflecting, and strengthening his character. He couldn't control his fate, but he could control his response. He couldn't change his circumstances, but he could change how he perceived them. And he did. By the time he was allowed to return to Rome, he was no longer the same man who had left. His mindset had become unbreakable. Years later, he lost everything again. Accused of another conspiracy, this time against Nero, he was ordered to take his own life. But even then, he remained calm. He accepted his fate with dignity, knowing that no one could take away the most valuable thing he had built, his mental strength. So tell me, if he could transform his mind through exile, betrayal, and death with no excuses, no complaints, what's stopping you? Have you ever felt like you're living the same day over and over again? Like your life is stuck on repeat? No matter what you do, each morning brings you right back to the same place. It's like being trapped in your own version of Groundhog Day. You wake up at the same moment, in the same place, with the same routine, scrolling through the same social media feeds, eating the same breakfast, dreading the same responsibilities. And then, the rest of the day unfolds exactly like the one before it. You go to work on autopilot. You complain about the same problems. You get distracted by nonsense. You procrastinate on what really matters. And when the day ends, you tell yourself, tomorrow I'll do things differently. But when you wake up, it all starts again. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into years. And then one day, you realize you've been running in circles, repeating the same patterns without actually moving forward. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it." But what if you're reacting the same way every time because you're running on outdated mental software? Imagine your mind as an old operating system full of glitches. It doesn't matter how powerful the machine is. If you keep running the same faulty programs, you'll always get the same results. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. That's why they practiced self-observation. Instead of acting without thinking, they studied themselves. And that's exactly what we'll do next. Their reactions identified their patterns and corrected them. They refused to let their minds run on autopilot because the truth is, we don't just repeat our actions. We repeat our thoughts, Have you noticed that most of your worries are the same ones you had months ago? It's like a broken record playing the same track on repeat. I'm not good enough. This won't work out. What if everything goes wrong? As long as that voice keeps playing in your head, nothing outside will change. So, how do you break the cycle? By taking control and rewiring your mind. And no, you don't need a dramatic revolution or an overnight radical change. The first step, identify your loops. Pay attention to the thoughts and habits you repeat without questioning them. Do you always complain about the same things? Get distracted in the same ways? Postpone what you know you should be doing? If so, change just one small thing each day. You don't need a master plan, just a tiny shift to break the pattern. If you always check your phone first thing in the morning, leave it in another room, and start your day without distractions. If you always put off an important task, tackle it first before anything else. If you constantly repeat negative thoughts, replace them with questions that challenge you. What can I do today to improve just 1%? Because in the end, if your mind is a broken record, at least make sure it's playing the right song. That's the difference between staying trapped in the same day over and over or finally transforming your life. What's holding you back? Imagine trying to step out of your house, but something is holding you back. You look around, try to push forward with more force, but it's useless. What's going on? Then you glance down and there it is. Your foot is shackled by a thick, rusted chain tied to a heavy concrete block. You try to loosen it, pull harder, even struggle in frustration, but nothing. You're stuck. And here's the strangest part. That chain was always there. You just never noticed it until now. That's exactly how many of the things that hold us back in life work: beliefs, fears, relationships, things that bind us without us even realizing. We want to move forward, but something keeps pulling us back. We don't understand why we feel stuck, why nothing seems to change, until we finally look down and see what's been holding us all along. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you encounter an obstacle, make it your path." But how can you turn an obstacle into an opportunity if you don't even know what's blocking you? Take Irene Aunan. She grew up in a family where success meant following a traditional path: medicine, engineering, law. But deep down, she felt her path was different. She dreamed of working in fashion, but that idea seemed impossible. How could she pursue something that wasn't considered a serious profession in her environment? For years, she settled for what was expected of her, until one day, she asked herself a question that changed everything. What if this isn't true? What if I actually can do it? That single thought shattered the invisible chain holding her back. She challenged the norm, bet on her passion, and launched her own brand specializing in fashion for tall women. Today, her company showcases at Lagos Fashion Week and collaborates with major brands. Irene could have let limiting beliefs hold her back forever. Instead, she chose to break free and rewrite her story. Now, tell me, what chains are you still dragging? What thoughts do you repeat every day that keep you stuck in the same place? If you want to move forward, start with a mental inventory. Write it down in a journal or on a piece of paper. Maybe it's thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve this," or "it's too late to change." Maybe it's a relationship that drains you more than it gives. Maybe it's an excuse you've been repeating for years. Once you identify it, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or have I just believed it for so long that I've never questioned it? If you realize something isn't serving you, replace it with a more useful thought. If you always tell yourself, "I can't do this," change the question to, "What would I do if I truly believed I could?" Because in the end, you can't move forward toward a better life if you're still chained to the same old beliefs. Letting go isn't easy, but it's the first step toward transformation. So tell me, what belief, fear, or excuse are you going to leave behind today? Drop it in the comments, and let's start breaking those chains together. Your brain can change. If I told you that you could update your brain like an app, would you believe me? A lot of people think that who we are is fixed, that if we're born a certain way, we'll stay that way forever. But the truth is, Our brain is far more flexible than we imagine. It can be reprogrammed. Think of it like clay. At first, it has a set shape molded by habits, beliefs, and experiences. But if you warm it up and start working with it, you can reshape it completely. This is called neuroplasticity, and it's more incredible than you might think. Your brain is constantly under construction, like a city being rebuilt. Every time you repeat a habit or learn something new, it's like paving a new highway. The more you use it, the faster and stronger it becomes. But if you stop using it, weeds take over and eventually it disappears. A study published in Psychology Today confirms that this ability allows us to change, learn, and adapt throughout our entire lives. What you think and do today isn't just a habit. It's literally reshaping the structure of your mind. Amazing, right? A philosopher once said, "As long as we live, we learn." He understood that our minds are constantly shaped by what we practice, whether virtues or vices. That's why he made self-reflection a daily habit. At the end of each day, he would review his actions and ask himself, did I do the right thing? Could I have acted better? He didn't punish himself for his mistakes, nor did he ignore them. He knew that improving the mind was a lifelong practice. Now, imagine you're someone who is always impatient. You get frustrated waiting in line, annoyed when someone takes too long to reply, and you always say, "That's just who I am. I can't help it." The truth is, you repeated impatience so many times that it has become your default reaction. You reinforce that pathway in your brain. But here's the good news. You can change that path. How? By changing your internal language. Instead of saying, "That's just who I am," try saying, "Right now I feel this way." That small shift opens the door to change. Then, repeat new actions until they become part of you. If you struggle with patience, start practicing it deliberately. For example, if you know a friend is always late, show up 10 minutes early. Instead of scrolling through your phone or getting irritated, observe your surroundings, listen to the sounds around you. Take a deep breath and just let time pass without anxiety. You might think, what a waste of time. But ask yourself, are you really wasting time, or are you rewiring your brain to become unbreakable? Isn't that worth it? Remember, you are not stuck as the person you are today. Every day is a chance to rewrite your story. Your brain has the ability to adapt and transform your life, but change is in your hands. Stop hurting your mind. If your mind could leave you a review like a restaurant or an online store, what rating do you think it would give you? A glowing 5 stars for excellent care, or a shameful 1-star review for constant mistreatment? Think about it. You bombard your mind daily with negative news, social media comparisons, worries beyond your control, poor nutrition, and lack of sleep. Then you wonder why you feel exhausted, anxious, or mentally foggy. It's like dumping garbage into a car and then being surprised when it won't start. Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our circumstances, but we can choose how we face them." The Stoics valued mental clarity above all else. They knew that a mind overloaded with noise and distractions becomes weak, reactive, and unstable. That's why they avoided anything that pulled them away from virtue. They didn't fill their days with useless worries or let their attention be hijacked by things beyond their control. But what happens when you don't do this? When you let everything around you pollute your mind? Imagine someone who constantly sabotages themselves mentally. Before they do anything, they already expect the worst. They anticipate a fight before calling a relative, assume a meal will be terrible before eating, and expect to embarrass themselves before a meeting. And just like that, without anyone doing anything to them, they live in a state of stress, frustration, and anger over things that haven't even happened yet. Their mind fills with tension, their mood crashes, and worst of all, they almost always prove themselves right. It's exhausting just thinking about it, isn't it? When you go through life expecting the worst, you'll always find reasons to see it. So, how can you stop damaging your mind? Reduce what pollutes your mind. You can't control everything happening in the world, but you can control what you give your attention to. Do you really need to start your day with negative news? Spend hours scrolling through social media? Listen to people who drain your energy? Decide what deserves space in your mind and what doesn't. Make time for silence and daily reflection. You don't need to isolate yourself, but you do need to give your mind a break. A few minutes without distractions, screens, or noise can help. Take a walk without your phone, write in a journal, or simply sit in silence. The Stoics did this daily to strengthen their mental clarity. Ask yourself, is this making me stronger or weaker? Before engaging in a pointless argument, consuming anxiety-inducing information, or surrounding yourself with negativity, stop and ask this question. If the answer isn't stronger, then it's time to let it go. Because in the end, if you knew you were drinking something toxic little by little, would you keep drinking it? Then why do it to your mind? The choice to protect it is in your hands. And once you do, you'll see how everything starts to change. Why do things that don't matter affect you? Let's be honest. How many times a day do you get upset over things that have no real importance? If you got $1 every time something insignificant annoyed you, you'd probably be a millionaire. A thoughtless comment, traffic making you late, slow Wi-Fi, a waiter taking too long to serve you. You stack up frustration without even realizing it. But have you ever asked yourself why you let these things affect you so much? Marcus Aurelius had an answer. If something external bothers you, it is not the event itself but your opinion of it. In other words, what really upsets you isn't what happens. It's the story you tell yourself about it. Think about Marcus Aurelius himself. As Emperor of Rome, he faced wars, betrayals, and crises. If he had let every obstacle shake him, he would have lived in constant distress. But he understood that the key wasn't controlling the world. It was controlling his reaction to it. Instead of wasting energy on what he couldn't control, he focused on his thoughts, decisions, and character. Now, imagine you're sick. Nothing serious, but you feel terrible. You just want to get better as soon as possible. So, you set an expectation. By tomorrow, I need to be fully recovered. Then you obsess over every symptom. Check your temperature every hour and get frustrated because the fever isn't going down fast enough. But here's the truth. Your body has its own timeline. No matter how much you want to control your illness, your body will heal at its own pace. And the worst part, when tomorrow arrives and you're still unwell, you're not just sick anymore. You're frustrated too. You've wasted energy fighting something that was never in your hands to begin with. We spend too much time resisting things that simply are. This is where the Stoic technique of indifference comes into play. So, what should you do? Observe without reacting. The next time something insignificant bothers you, pause before responding. Just observe it, without judgment, without fueling it with more thoughts. Look at it as if you were an outside spectator. Then, shift your focus to what actually deserves your energy. Here's a challenge. Right now, choose something you can't control and let it go. Maybe it's someone's opinion that upsets you, a situation that didn't go as planned, or even a negative thought that keeps replaying in your head. Whatever it is, drop it. And when your mind drifts back, remind yourself, it's out of my hands. Redirect your attention to what you can change. If you want to transform your life, you first need to free your mind from everything that drains it. You can't become strong and unbreakable if you keep allowing every little thing to steal your peace. So, tell me, what's the first thing you're going to let go of today? You, my friend, are who you surround yourself with. Have you ever noticed how you start adopting expressions, gestures, or even habits from the people around you? Our environment has a silent but powerful influence on shaping our thoughts, beliefs, and ultimately our actions. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Surround yourself with those who make you better." The Stoics understood that to achieve virtue and wisdom, they needed to be around people who embodied those qualities. They sought mentors and role models, fully aware that their surroundings directly influence their character. Psychologist Marion Rojas Estate puts it simply, your environment isn't just another detail in your life. It's a decisive factor in how you think, feel, and even how your brain functions. I experienced this firsthand the other day. I met up with a friend who constantly complains, finding the negative in every situation. I thought it wouldn't affect me, that it was just another conversation. But when I got home, I felt exhausted. My head was heavy, and worst of all, I was angry at the world for no apparent reason. And that's no coincidence. According to Rojas' estate, our brains absorb the energy of those around us, for better or worse. In my case, definitely for worse. This is more serious than it seems. Science confirms that stress and negativity are contagious. When you're surrounded by toxic or pessimistic people, your brain increases its production of cortisol, the stress hormone. In other words, being in a draining environment doesn't just demotivate you, it physically affects you. But here's the good part. Your environment doesn't just have the power to pull you down, it can also lift you up. And you can use this to your advantage. Use the elevator effect. If you want to improve in any area, spend more time with people who already live the way you aspire to. Want a healthier lifestyle? Join groups that prioritize fitness and balanced nutrition. Their habits and energy will positively influence you, making your own transformation easier. Cut out relationships that don't add value. If someone isn't adding to your life, at the very least, they shouldn't be taking away from it. This doesn't mean you have to be harsh. Just reduce the time and energy you invest in relationships that don't contribute to your growth. Prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being isn't selfish. It's necessary. Design an environment that supports your goals. Want to improve focus and productivity? Create a space that encourages it. Keep your workspace clean, free of distractions, and design in a way that inspires you. Your physical surroundings shape your mindset, and your mindset shapes your actions. If your current environment isn't pushing you to be better, why are you still in it? To transform your life and become unbreakable, you must surround yourself with people, places, and influences that elevate you. You have the power to choose your environment. Do it wisely. Your thoughts shape your life. Your thoughts are like an Instagram filter. You apply them to everything you see. Use a dark, gloomy filter, and the world will look sad and dull. But switch to a warm, bright filter, and suddenly, the same image appears full of life. Think about this. It's Monday morning. Your alarm goes off, and the first thing you say is, "I hate Mondays." From that moment on, you've already decided your day will be miserable. Every minor inconvenience feels like a disaster, and everything that happens only confirms what you already believed. I was right. Mondays are awful, but is Monday really the problem? Or is it your mental filter making it worse? Dr. Daniel Amen suggests something simple. Start your day by saying, "Today is going to be a great day." Sounds silly? Maybe. But once you say it, your brain starts looking for reasons to make it true. A small shift in your mindset can change how you react, how you make decisions, and ultimately, how you live your life. Now, imagine Marcus Aurelius in battle. Soldiers shouting, arrows flying, and he's thinking, today is going to be a disaster. We're definitely going to lose. Sounds ridiculous, right? A leader who enters combat with that mindset has already lost before the fight even begins. Instead, Marcus Aurelius trained his mind. While others were paralyzed by fear, he held on to a simple truth. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. That was the key. When your mind is trained to focus on solutions instead of problems, you become unbreakable. So how can you rewire your mind to work for you instead of against you? Do the thought test. Every time a negative thought appears, pause and ask yourself, is this thought helping me or sabotaging me? If it's just adding unnecessary drama, throw it into the mental trash bin. Exaggerate the positive. If your usual thought is, this Monday is going to be exhausting, flip it to the extreme. This Monday is going to be the best day of the week. It might sound ridiculous, but your brain will start looking for ways to make it true. Use the mental placebo effect. Ever seen someone walk into a room with insane confidence, even when they had no reason to? That's because the brain believes what you repeatedly tell it. Act as if you have confidence and watch how your attitude, body language, and even the way others perceive you starts to change. Because in the end, life isn't what makes you miserable. It's how you choose to see it. If you want to be unbreakable, train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. If you're waiting for everyone to applaud before you take action, get ready to stay stuck forever. It's like a coffee maker refusing to brew until someone says, "Wow, you heat water so well." Or a phone waiting for a standing ovation before turning on. Sounds ridiculous, right? Yet that's exactly what we do when we need approval before making every decision. Let me tell you about Alejandro Serrato, a physicist who spent years trapped in the need for external validation. In his article, The Perfection Deception, he admits, and from here, you can continue the story or make any additional refinements. Every time you earn money, set some aside, even if it's just a little. This simple habit builds financial discipline. Over time, you'll find ways to invest, educate yourself on managing finances, and turn small sacrifices today into massive rewards tomorrow. The same principle applies to every aspect of life: your health, relationships, and personal growth. You don't need drastic changes. You just need to start making better decisions each day. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that moves me closer to my goals? For example, if you're about to buy a pair of shoes you don't truly need, pause. Ask yourself, does this purchase bring me closer to my dream home or push it further away? You don't have to get everything right at once. Just make one better decision today. Whenever you're hesitating about a decision, imagine that you've already made it. Then ask yourself, will I feel proud or regretful afterward? If your future self will thank you, take action. Remember, the future isn't something that just happens to you. You are creating it with every choice you make. So ask yourself, 5 years from now, will you be where you want to be, or will you regret not starting today? Think of your mind like a muscle. Walking into a gym once won't make you strong. It's the repetition that builds strength. The same goes for your mind. If you don't train it, it weakens. Criticism will break you, obstacles will paralyze you, and fear will control you. But if you challenge your mind every day, it becomes unbreakable. When real challenges arise, you won't waver. You will endure, overcome, and grow. It's no coincidence that the most successful people emphasize mental training. Will Smith once said, "I don't consider myself particularly talented, but I have a ridiculous work ethic. That work ethic is mental discipline." He doesn't wait to feel motivated. He trains his mind to take action no matter what. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus put it simply, no one progresses without effort. He who refuses to train remains weak. You can't leave your mental strength to chance. You must train it daily. Here's how. Mental training isn't optional. It's the difference between being controlled by circumstances or taking charge of your life. Don't wait for life to force you to be strong. Start now. Transformation isn't magic or luck. It's built through every thought you challenge, every decision you make, and every action you take, even when you don't feel like it. The perfect moment isn't coming. You create it. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "Today, I decide to transform my mind." That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss what's next. Check out our playlist on the screen. It's packed with ideas and insights to help you navigate life with wisdom and confidence. Until next time, take care and keep strengthening your inner Stoic.